Engineer Ogumakinwa Akindolani, General Manager, Ondo State Electricity Board, Mr. Olorundipe, Statistician General of Ondo State, Mr. Remigius Ogunjobi, General Manager, Ondo State Water Corporation. According to a statement by the Chief Press Secretary to the Governor, Prince Ebenezer Adeneyo, all the elements take immediate effect. Meanwhile, Governor Aiyedatiwa says his administration will not shy away from efforts at making life more abundant for people of the state, especially artisans. Governor Aiyedatiwa, who received an audience, members of the United Artisans Group in the state approved 200 million naira soft loan for traders, artisans and small-scale businesses in the state. The governor, who appointed president of the group, Mr. Daisy Komalafe, as senior special assistant, urged more of their support for his administration. Government House correspondent Wahab Bankole, company sister.
The Cocoa Conference Hall of the Governor's Office in Akure hosted members of the United Artisans Group in Ondo State. The group gathered to meet minds with Governor Lucky Aiyedatiwa on how to further advance the state while improving the living standard of members. President of the group, Mr. Daisy Komalafe, applauded the strides of the governor towards advancing the state and improving the welfare of members.
Awala ìgboro la yí káàkiri gbogbo Ondo State lọ́jọ́ kò sí bí gbogbo lọ́kọ̀ gọ́ọ̀mẹ̀ntì àti wá. Ìgbàdá wa fún ara wa tá a ṣe àyẹ̀wò ara wa níbi ọdún mẹ́rin sẹ́yìn àdúgbò ajẹ́ 372,000 across the 18 local government. Yàtọ̀ sí àwọn tí ò darapọ̀ mọ́ wa. Láti ìgbà yẹn náà báyìí tá a bá ti tún ṣe àwárí báyìí àti lé ní 400 àbí bẹ́ẹ̀ kọ́. So a fẹ́ sọ fún ẹgbẹ́ sà àwọn àlẹ́yìn yìí.
Governor Lucky Aiyedatiwa, who approved a soft loan of 200 million naira for traders, artisans and small-scale businesses in the state, appreciated their support for his administration. The governor surprised the visitors with the appointment of their president as his senior special assistant on artisans matters.
Ó sọ̀rọ̀ níbẹ̀ àsìkò ní gbogbo nǹkan Ọlọ́run ló dẹ̀ máa ń ṣe fún yàn kò sí ipò tí èèyàn lè wà Ọlọ́run ló máa ń ṣe o ibi tá a wà lẹ́nu Ọlọ́run ló gbé wa síbẹ̀ a dẹ̀ dúpẹ́ lọ́wọ́ Ọlọ́run lẹ́yìn tí wọ́n ṣe fún wa wọ́n dẹ̀ ṣe jù bẹ́ẹ̀ lọ. SSC to the governor. Láti sáàmàtà ohun rèé o.
The governor urged more of their support for his administration while promising not to disappoint nor lower the bar of good governance in the state. Aiyedatiwa reassured of his administration's commitment to empowering artisans in the state through the State Microcredit Agency. Wahab Bankole, Osrc News.
Ondo State government has maintained its stance on zero tolerance to gender-based violence. Special Assistant to Governor Aiyedatiwa on Gender, Olamide Falana, gave the warning when she paid a visit to a violence victim, Augustina Odechukwu, at the police clinic in Akure. Mrs. Odechukwu was rescued by a government official while being pursued and injured by her husband, Sunday Odechukwu, along other axes in the state capital. Omori Olagbeji, capital story.
Augustine Odechukwu, ẹni tó ń kojú ìfìyàjẹni lọ́wọ́ ọkọ rẹ̀ Sunday Odechukwu, wà lórí ibùsùn àárẹ̀. Obìnrin ọ̀hún jẹ́ ọmọ ìpínlẹ̀ Ebonyi. Ó bí ọmọ 5 fún ọkọ rẹ̀. Wọ́n ṣe ìgbéyàwó lọ́dún díẹ̀ sẹ́yìn tó sì ti ń kojú ìṣòro látọ̀dọ̀ ọkọ rẹ̀ láti bí ọdún kan sẹ́yìn. Tó pè fún ìdájọ́ tó yẹ lórí ọkọ rẹ̀ tó ń dúnkokò mọ́ ẹ̀mí rẹ̀, tí ìdúnkokò náà tàn dórí àwọn ọmọ. Lásìkò tí olùbádámọ̀ràn gómìnà Lucky Ayédàtiwa lórí ọ̀rọ̀ lákọlábo Olamide Falana ṣàbẹ̀wò sí
Lying here on the sick bed is Augustina Odechukwu, a victim of gender violence from her husband, Sunday Odechukwu. The Ebonyi woman, who is a mother of 5 boys, to Sunday said they got married many years ago but has been facing hell for over a year.
They should fight for the justice because I don't have anybody.
While pleading for justice on her husband, who was always threatening to kill her, she revealed that her children were not spared of the act.
My brother would be telling me that I should enjoy it. That it's not possible after I've given 5 boys to him, that it's not possible I should leave my home before this incident. This is not the first time, sef. Sometime midnight he would drive us away. We go and sleep in somebody's house. The last one that he did at Oluka, back of Nepa market, he beat me that blood is coming out from my body, and I said I know. The one that he did safe, he broke one of my son's head, that the blood is coming out from my son's body, from my son's head and his leg. He said that he will kill the boy. Later, now force the door and enter. The boy have already soaked with blood.
Reacting, Special Advisor to Governor Ayédàtiwa on Gender, Olamide Falana, who visited the victim in company of officials of Osrc BV, talked tough, saying Ondo State government will not allow acts of indiscipline or violence on any individual.
Indeed, Ondo State has zero tolerance to gender-based violence, and that is why this case is not going to be allowed to sit, but the man is going to be prosecuted, and the woman is assured of protection by the state government, because Ondo State is a state that actually cares for its own, and this is also a call out to men out there, to men and women out there, that resort to violence is not excusable. There is no reason for anybody using brute force or using resorting to violence on another, and they will not condone such acts of violence on any individual in the state. The state already has a law, that is in place that ensures protection of individuals. We have the VAP law. We also have the Agency Against Gender-Based Violence, which is also there to ensure protection of individuals and prosecution of such cases. So this is a call to individuals to desist from such acts, and for anybody who is a victim, please speak out, be it male or female.
Mrs. Falana also paid a visit to the State Commissioner of Police, Abayomi Oladipo, intimating him on the need to join forces with Ondo State and Osrc BV in fighting gender violence in the state. The commissioner assured her of police support in stemming the acts in the state.
We'll continue to interface and support your advocacy and let people know that it cannot no longer be party as usual. We will tell all the DPOs to collaborate with your people at the grassroots level, so that when they have cases like this, they can quickly respond, because response time is really the key.
Sunday Odechukwu has been detained by the police before being charged to court. Omori Olagbeji, Osrc News.
Now, the current state of waste management in Ondo State is giving residents great concern. Investigation by Osrc showed that waste is either dumped in unauthorized places or burned, contributing to air pollution and health risk. The report.
This is Akure, the Ondo State capital. For some time now, The state has been battling with the issue of waste collections and management. The state government has made concerted efforts at ensuring citizens live in a healthy and hygienic environment, but all these This is Akure, the Ondo State capital. For some time now, the state has been battling with the issue of waste collections and management. The state government has made concerted efforts at ensuring citizens live in a healthy and hygienic environment, but all these efforts seem not yielding needed result, as some major streets in Akure, the state capital, still littered with waste unattended to. Investigation by Osrc revealed that ZL Global Alliance, which is the contractor, started with waste collection on major roads in the state capital, has abandoned the people to their fate, leading to indiscriminate dumping of waste. The company hinged the decision on inability of government to pay an agreed monthly allocation. However, the State Waste Management Authority has stepped in as its trucks were sighted, evacuating refuse to prevent outbreak of diseases. This dump site along Igbatoro Road, Akure, was sited in the city's outskirts many years ago with no human activities. However, that is no longer the case as urbanization has spread to the area with quite a number of dwellers plying the route. The contractor in charge of the dump site left the place unkept and refuse now spewed to the main road. Now, residents are lamenting the current state of the dump site, describing it as a disaster waiting to happen.
It's always been a serious issue plying this road with the nature of water coming out from this place.
There's no way you can pass there without covering your nose. When we are moving around, when we are moving, going no more, coming now, so at least we wind up.
So people now, they don't feel come here because at this place they smell. Please. And yesterday, people come out for here, they don't come out.
We've clamored for the relocation of this dumping site. But they said government is giving them some area, some piece of land in another place. But yet, there is no solution.
Following this public outcry, the state government, through a letter signed by the General Manager, Ondo State Waste Management Authority, Mr. Adefolaju Omowole, ordered a temporary closure of the dump site at Igbatoro Road, Akure, and approved a new dump site at Akpomu. Commissioner for Environment, Mr. Oyeniyi Oseni, while stating government's plans regarding the facility, said efforts are on to ensure smooth running of the Akpomu dump site. He assured residents of the state that the present administration in Ondo State would not relent in its efforts at providing enabling environment for them.
Government's concession battle to them, and I investigated how the place was when it was handed over to them. Judging from what I saw, I'm not impressed. That means we have to look at the workable model that will allow us to have a sustainable use of that dump site. In Akpomu, what I also saw there shows that we need emergency attention in that place so that we will not allow it to go the way of battle.
All efforts to speak with ZL Global Alliance proved abortive as no one was on ground to speak.
The Ondo State Police Command has commenced investigation into the death of Mrs. Florence Fumilayo Adelaye. The decomposing body of the late Adelaye, a 54-year-old civil servant, was recovered in her residence after her whereabouts were said to be unknown for days. The State Police Public Relations Officer, Fumilayo Odolami Umesoya, confirmed the incident, noting that one suspect has been arrested in connection with the case.
Sunday, at that division, a complainant walked in and complained that she got an information that her sister for the past 5 days had not been seen around. So she went to the house to see things for herself, and she found her corpse on the ground in her bedroom, on the floor rather, in her bedroom. The police got there, evacuated the corpse to the mortuary, and in the course of cleaning the corpse, we saw a mark showing that the deceased was stabbed, and a knife was also found at the scene. Currently, one person is in custody concerning the case. Investigation is still ongoing, but what we just intend to do is get to the root of it before we give the public details. The victim has been deposited at the morgue. We can't say this is exactly what happened or how it happened. So we expect people to still, of course, life goes on. People around there should be more careful, but watchful of things around them. Then basically, we should learn to look out for each other. Because it was the sister of the deceased that even came to the station, that she noticed for the past 5 days, she had not seen her sister around. According to the information she had, that they've not seen her sister around for the past 5 days. 5 days is enough for any of the neighbors around to walk up to the building to ask, hello, is anybody home? That was why I said we should also learn to look out for ourselves. We are neighbors, we are social animals. We are neighbors, we stay in the same on the same street, we stay in the same area. It's not out of place to check on ourselves.
Now to the legislature in Abuja. The senators mandated its committees on Army Defense, Air Force and Navy to unravel the circumstances surrounding the killings of 17. Alake has affirmed the resolve of the federal government to foreclose the acquisition of mining licenses by prospective investors without requisite plans for local. In 1 and 5 months leave to men and women who lost their spouse have skilled circle reading on the floor of the House of Representatives. The bill, sponsored by members And some Southeast members of the House of Representatives, led by Honorable Ikenga, sections of the Constitution to discontinue the trial of a detained leader of the indigenous people of Biafra, IPOB, Nnamdi Kanu. This was, as they said, the dismissal of Kanu's bail application by the court was another major setback for the healing process and return of peace in the region. Justice Binta Nyako on Tuesday rejected Kanu's bail request and granted an accelerated hearing of the criminal case against Kanu. Speaking on behalf of those other Southeast lawmakers who were in court, Ugochiran stated that granting Kanu bail would have provided an opportunity to open doors for discussion to bring about peace in the Southeast. The Colombian government announced it will resume military operations against a faction of the FARC rebels that broke away when a peace accord was signed in 2016. President Gustavo Petro's administration suspended ongoing talks with the armed group after an attack on an indigenous community. Kemsola Ojo has details.
A vicious attack on unarmed civilians. Members of a rebel group opened fire on this indigenous community in the Western Kaika region last Sunday when locals resisted the armed group's attempt to forcibly recruit a young student. At least 3 people were wounded. One renowned indigenous authority was killed, leaving a community long ravaged by armed conflict once again in disarray.
There's a lot of uncertainty, anxiety and fear. We're growing desperate. There are 12,000 people in the indigenous reservation and people are stuck in their houses. Kids are not going to school. Everything is stalled because we don't know what will happen next. So the question is now for the government, what will they do? We're trying to attend to both the security and social emergency.
President Gustavo Petro, who has bet on negotiating peace agreements with remaining armed groups in the country, took to social media to announce that the attack was a violation of an ongoing ceasefire and order a resumption of military operations against them. The EMC is the largest dissident faction of former FARC rebel who refused to join a 2016 peace deal. Experts say that since the accord was signed, Colombian authorities have failed to take control of the country's most volatile regions, allowing remaining armed groups to expand and fight for control of illegal activities like drug trafficking.
The government is engaged in peace negotiations with this guerrilla group because they argue that they have political agenda. But the truth is that the agenda is unclear and they don't have support among local communities. And at the same time, they took advantage of the ceasefire to strengthen themselves militarily. And that's what the president has now understood and is trying to stop.
The government says negotiations with this group will continue despite the setback, but the next steps are unclear. On Tuesday, the country's largest criminal organization, the Clan del Golfo, announced they will also start talks with the administration. Kemi Solojom, Osrc News.
A law that allowed the U.S. state of Texas to arrest and deport migrants who cross the border from Mexico illegally has been put on hold by an appeal court. The law, known as SB4, briefly went into effect when it was given the green light by the U.S. Supreme Court. But as the legal back and forth continues, migrants say they remain worried for themselves and their families. The report.
Dozens of men who recently arrived to the United States from Central and South America are waiting at a Houston, Texas gas station for work. Their hopes evaporate with each passing car that offers no jobs for undocumented laborers. 27-year-old Alfredo from Guatemala says he'll take any work that's offered, but money is no longer his primary worry. SB4 empowers any passing police officer to arrest these men on suspicion they crossed the Texas-Mexico border illegally.
We came to fight for our families, not to harm anyone. We just want to work.
SB4 says anyone who crossed the border between ports of entry may face up to 20 years in prison unless they agree to return to Mexico. Alfreda says he'll never agree to deport himself. He owes smugglers $32,000 and fears for his family's safety until he pays up. He says he'll have to move to another state. Migrants' crossings have already shifted away from Texas to other border states in the law's advance.
I have used a clause in the Constitution that empowers states to defend themselves.
The White House says SB4 is unconstitutional and will continue to challenge it in court. And Shantier, the leading candidate to become Houston's new district attorney in November, says it also invites racial profiling.
You would have mixed families, meaning some people are here with documentation and some people aren't, driving in the same car. You would be calling the person who's driving, if they do have documentation, a smuggler and charge them with a felony and rip a family apart?
Immigrant families near the Texas border say they already live in fear. 18-year-old Anna is a U.S. citizen, but her mother is undocumented.
She always tells me to work hard on my studies so I can get out of here. Obviously, she doesn't want me to be the same.
Worries her mother, who says has broken no laws other than crossing the border to give her daughter a better life, will be labeled a criminal by the state of Texas.
Now let's turn our attention to war-torn Gaza, where the World Health Organization says doctors are showing signs of malnutrition, including weight loss and exhaustion, amid catastrophic food shortages. They're working around the clock to treat the injured, but without enough food, they're struggling to get through their shifts.
We've been provided with a few meals, but nutritionally, they are not sufficient. Each meal is shared between 2 doctors and consists of rice and a small amount of vegetables. No protein. It's not enough for a doctor working these hours.
We're seeing malnutrition among health workers in the emergency department. Weight loss, pale skin. They can't work like this, especially with so many injuries coming in. They don't have the energy to work for more than 2 hours.
We're suffering from nutritional deficiencies. Fruit and vegetables aren't available, so we're not getting any minerals or vitamins. We depend on canned food, but sometimes the price of that goes sky high.
Elsewhere in Pakistan, 2 bodies have been pulled from a collapsed mine in southern Pakistan. In the same vein, 14 people have been killed and 37 others injured after a bus crashed inside an expressway tunnel in northern China. The bus, which was carrying 51 people, rammed into the tunnel's interior wall. The toll of those killed and injured was confirmed in a report without providing details on the severity of the survivors' conditions. The cause of the incident is now under investigation. Road accidents are common in China due to lack of strict safety controls. In February of last year, 16 people were killed and dozens more injured in a pile-up in central Yunnan province. The month before that, 19 people died and 20 were injured in a road accident in eastern Jiangxi province. And with that, we'll wrap up World at News. Thank you for watching. Good afternoon.